Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bentley Ponder. I'm a Deputy Commissioner here at DECAL over the Quality Innovations and Partnerships Division. And I am sitting here with my colleague, Denise Jensen. Hey.
Hi, everyone.
This is our second time doing this today.
Round two.
Yeah, we are really excited to be here, and we're excited that we have one singular topic to talk about, our new quality rated workforce bonuses. And Denise, we've seen a lot of enthusiasm for these, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think everybody's really excited that these are finally ready to roll out and hit prime time.
Yeah. So not only am I sitting here with Denise, we've got a whole room here from our research teams and our quality rated teams ready to look at the questions, make sure we answer everything that we can. And with that, teams, say hey. Happy Friday afternoon, right? Yes. So anyway, Tyler, can you go to the next slide, please? All right, if you look here, you can see we have a really brief agenda. I'm going to do just a big picture overview, but really the bulk and the meat of what we're talking about, I'm going to turn to Denise, and she's going to go through all the details. We will, at the end, we will answer as many of your questions as you can. I can't say that we have the answer to all of them, but we're collecting them, and we will continue to answer them and post as much as we know. You know, this is a new program for us. It's not the first time we've done bonuses like this, but it's the first time we've done them in this way. So we are learning as we go, but the bottom line is these are great things, and we are really excited to share them with you. And on the Q&A, if you'll just put your questions in the Q&A and not chat, we would appreciate it. So just in terms of where this sits, so as many of you know, and if you came to any of our road shows this fall, in September, beginning September 30th, 2024, we implemented our new CCDF plan. And there were lots of things in the plan, and that plan is basically the way that we will spend our federal dollars related to our CAP scholarships and quality initiatives. But some of the key ones that were impactful to quality rated was that first, we were increasing our CAPS rate, or what some of us refer to as the base rate, to the 60th percentile. And that led to changing tiered reimbursement and then morphing into the commitment to quality payments. And those led into us doing some new supports for our CAPS one-star providers. And I know that many of those kicked off the past 2 weeks, and we've had a lot of success, and so glad to hear about the different providers who have come to those across the state, and just glad that is working out. But as I said at the beginning, the purpose of today is to talk about our QR workforce bonuses. These represent a substantial investment of our CCDF funds, and as we'll talk about in just a second, really show that we value and appreciate our workforce. So I won't go into a lot of detail with this slide. We put it together because we just wanted to show the evolution and different ways that we have offered bonuses before in the past. So if you look in 2013, this was about a year after Quality Rated took off, when we started having a lot of programs come through. We were able, raising through some of our philanthropic dollars and our foundation, to offer bonus packages, which included provider payments and staff payments. We were able to do that for several years, and you can see, you know, during the time that higher rates went into effect, and we adopted our QR CAPS goal. In 2020, as the pandemic was hitting, and we started having pandemic relief funds, and we implemented TARO, we were also able to offer staff bonuses through that funding stream as well. As hopefully many of you were able to access between 2022 and 2023, there were several rounds of power payments that we offered, and similar to these payments, those also went through Care Solutions. And then you get us to 2025, and we're launching the quality rated workforce bonus payments. And I think the biggest difference between these and the others are that these are ongoing. So when we say annual, this means that they will be offered every year to our quality rated workforce, staff, and providers. All right, next slide. So what are we talking about with these bonuses? So these are new annual workforce awards. They're $500 for eligible employees of providers who are quality rated and are at the 1, 2, or 3-star level. As I've mentioned before, that these were designed as part of our CCDF plan to recognize and acknowledge the hard work that program staff do every day. We know that quality is not something that is just achieved and easily maintained. It's something that providers continually work on and strive to improve, and we hope that these workforce bonuses reflect our appreciation of that. And these are available to all eligible, that is a hard word, staff of quality rated providers at all star levels, regardless of whether or not they participate in CAPS. All right, so just in terms of eligibility, and Denise is going to go into much more detail about this in just a second. So our family child care learning homes are eligible, child care learning centers, and then standalone school age programs. And there are a few other different types of programs that may not fit neatly into those three categories who will also be eligible, and Denise will go into those in just a second. As you will see, there is, some requirements for staff to be eligible. So Denise will talk about the number of weekly hours that staff will need to show that they're working, the minimum time they've been employed by the program. But most key here, and I think what it was really great about these, is that these are not only for education staff and programs, but also the support staff. And this was something we heard loud and clear from providers when we first talked about these workforce bonuses, that they wanted us to have a way where it could be for all their staff, because we know that maintaining quality is not just about one set of staff, but it's really about the whole program. And we're excited that we're able to do that. Now, that did change some of the eligibility in some of the other categories. And as you'll see in just a second, it does change a little bit in the way that we're managing the bonuses. But again, really glad that we're able to offer these to all eligible staff in your program. All right. And then last but not least, before I turn it over to Denise, just a couple of key points. So first of all, every eligible staff member will receive one $500 payment per year. So, this is one per year. If staff move programs during the year, but have already received the $500 payment, then they will not be eligible until the next calendar year. One of the things that was important for us to be able to offer the bonuses to all staff was that we needed a system where we could distribute the payments throughout the year rather than just have one time a year where we issue the payments. The administrative costs for doing the latter are much higher and heavier. And so it was for us to be able to offer them to all staff, we needed to be able to have a system where we can distribute them across the year. So you'll see in just a second that each program is assigned a payment application month. And it'll be during that month that eligible staff will be able to go in and apply for their bonuses. They will have to do that during that payment application month. So if you're a program and your application month is April, your staff cannot go in May 1st or 2nd and apply. They will have to apply during that month. And Denise will talk about how you can identify that month and the things many of the things we're going to do so that staff know when is their month. But that's going to be really important for everyone to be aware of. This process is going to begin in April. But don't worry if you happen to be a program whose payment month is January, February, or March of this year, we have a plan for that. So every program is all staff of every program are going to be able to get these workforce bonuses this calendar year. And then last but not least, just so everyone knows, we are working with our audits team and developing processes to make sure that these bonuses are awarded as intended. So we know that is the way that most providers will look at these, and everybody will do, follow the processes and understand that there are regulations that are attached to these. But we also have to have some checks and balances on our end. So we will be working with our audits team to develop those processes and again, to make sure that the bonuses are awarded as intended. And with that, Denise, I'm going to turn it over to you and I will start monitoring the questions.
Okay, great. Thanks, Bentley. So welcome, everybody. Glad to be here on this Friday afternoon. I know it's late in the day, so we do appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to join us this afternoon and help spread the word, because that's really what this webinar is about, spreading the word to those individuals that are going to be eligible for these payments. And for us, as Bentley had mentioned, this is a really exciting time for us because, as many of you may have known, anytime you received a workforce bonus payment in the past through Quality Rated, it was kind of just a one-time thing. So starting back from those very early bonus packages that we had. Once you received your star rating, then your staff were eligible at that time, but it was a one-time payment. And those payments were only made to the teaching staff and administrative staff. So that's the other huge thing for us, having the ability to now have an ongoing revenue source to be able to make these payments every year to programs, to staff at qualifying programs year in, year out, knowing that this funding is going to be available is really just a very tremendous thing for us to be able to share with everyone. And the fact that these payments now can also be made to staff in programs beyond just the teaching and administrative staff, because we know that all of our staff are what make our programs be of high quality, rather than just it's not just teaching staff. Everybody in your building plays a part in making a high quality program. So we're excited to be able to kind of move forward with this. And if Tyler, you will switch us on, we'll talk just a little bit more about that deeper dive into what makes a program itself qualify for these payments for their staff. And so the good thing to know about the qualification for the program is just that star rating. So whether you're a 1, 2, or a 3-star rated program, your staff, if they meet the eligibility requirements, that's all they need to know. If you're star rated, you're in. And so, as Bentley had mentioned as well, when we look at which programs have that eligibility, it's not just our licensed programs. If you are a Georgia Head Start, Early Head Start, if you work in a DoD program, if you work for a technical school or university lab, childcare program, all of these programs are eligible to receive this bonus as long as they have that star rating. And then, of course, this is the other great thing about the bonuses. It's not just tied to CAPS providers. So unlike our commitment to quality payments, which are targeting high quality CAPS providers, this workforce bonus is exactly what it says. It's for the workforce of any 1, 2, or 3-star rated program. So we're really excited that we're able to extend this to all of our quality rated programs. And so, as Bentley had mentioned, in order to make this work, to be able to figure out how to equitably and fairly distribute those payments across the entire year, we did have to think very hard about what will those payment months look like. How do we determine who belongs in what payment month? And so this next slide that we're going to share with you is really going to help you understand where your program falls in the year in terms of breaking down when those payments will be made to each program, and that window will open up for you. So the really big thing to know about is it was very difficult to determine how do we make these payments across the year to 3,000 programs. That's about 34,000 individuals that will be receiving these payments. And we really wanted to make sure that we could fairly distribute those numbers across the year. So when you think about how do you divide up 3,000 programs, you could do it by alphabetizing the programs, and A through J goes with January. That's not really very fair. We could have taken a regional approach and said we'll just pay everybody in region 1 in the first month, or region 2 the next. That's not a very fair approach. So the way that we was able to determine the fairest way to actually do this was actually to look at the rating dates of an initial star rating. So all of our programs that currently have a rating, we were able to look across when were they very first rated with QR. Some of those programs could have held a rating since 2012, 2013 and renewed every 3 years. So looking at their initial rating is what gave us the most even distribution across the year. And so that is how we are determining which month will belong to which program. So for those of you that have access to your QR account, you can go in and look back through your portfolios and see when your initial rating was. For those of you that may not remember or don't know when the program that you work for had their first rating, you don't really need to know when that happened, because the way the system works, and we're going to walk through that in just a moment, you will be able to actually search for your program and it will tell you when your payment application month will be. But that's just a little bit of the behind the scenes for how did we come up with those months for which programs. The good news is, for those programs as we go on into this year that have never been rated before, that's their initial rating, they will actually not have to wait a whole year. They're not going to have to wait until 2026 to now get their rating months. We will actually apply their payment window to the month following their rating, and then in 2026 they will revert back to that particular month that they got their rating. So let's say, for example, you receive your first rating in July of this year. We will then be sending your information to our payment vendor Care Solutions, and then you will be able to have your application month be in August. But then next year you'll revert back to July being your payment application month, because that will be when you would have received the rating. As Bentley had mentioned, the application month, this whole process kicks off in April. And so again, he mentioned we have a plan. So for those providers whose application month will be January, February, or March, you can see clearly on this grid here how we plan to stagger you in to the payment windows so that you will be getting paid this year and not waiting until the next January window, which would be in 2026. So you can see here very clearly, so when we open up the payment application month in April, not only will those programs whose assigned month is April be able to apply, but also providers whose assigned month will be January will also be able to apply. So that April window will include January and April providers. The same thing then as we move into May, you can see that the May application month window will include those that would have had the February for this year, as well as those in May. And then again in June, that will include not just the June window, but also those providers whose month would be in March. So that way, that will get us through the January, February, March this year. And then obviously as we get into 2026, then everybody will even out to the January through December. So hopefully this will make more sense once you're able to actually go in and search for your program, and we'll kind of walk through that in just a moment so you can see what that process will look like to make that easy for you to do that. So just moving on quickly before we look at how this application is going to work, we do have to talk a little bit about the definitions around staff requirements and what actually makes the staff eligible to be able to receive these payments. And just like any other staff payments that you may have received from DCAL, there has to be some kind of a cutoff in terms of eligibility requirements in order to determine who is able to actually receive payments. And so in this case, with the quality rated workforce bonus, there is a requirement on how long a staff member has to have worked at a program that then makes them eligible for the payment, and that is 90 days. So as long as you have been working at the program for at least 90 days by the time it comes to your payment month, then you would be eligible and meet that first gate in terms of length of employment. The second requirement is how many hours you are working at a program. So we are looking at targeting our full-time teachers and support staff who work 30 hours or more a week at a program. And then there is a little bit of a caveat there if you are working a school age only program. We know that typically school age only programs have much fewer hourly hours to work and during that kind of before and after school time period. So the minimum hour requirement for school age only programs is 15 hours. So depending on kind of where you're working, what your role is, it might be a little bit different based on the facility. And then the other gate that will need to be met is whether or not you are working on site at a childcare facility. So these payments are designed really to help our workforce that are on the boots in the ground, in the trenches, making a difference every day in the lives of children in those programs. So if you're working at a corporate office for your corporate childcare, unfortunately, this payment is not, you're not going to be eligible for this payment. This really is that token of appreciation for those that are in there doing that hard work every day with the children and families. So those are the three requirements for staff. And then once you kind of have met that requirement, that eligibility, then we're going to walk through exactly how do I get access to these payments? What does that process look like? And how will I actually know when it is my month? Move forward. Okay, sorry, that's right there. Okay, so so this is a great information, is like spreading the word. We really do want to spread the word to our teachers, to our administrators, to our support staff in all of our programs. And the way that we're really hoping to do that is to spread the word through some of these great new kind of marketing tools that have been developed here in-house. We did not spend any of our dollars here on fancy kind of marketing firms. This was all developed in-house by our staff. But we have these wonderful posters that are going to be sent to all of our programs. And so these are going to be large, glossy, beautiful photos that you'll be able to put up in your programs, access for all of your staff and families to be able to see, to know that this opportunity is available to everyone. So all of the centres are going to receive an 18 by 24 poster, and we really encourage you to place this in areas where your staff can easily see this. If you would like to receive additional posters, you'll be able to reach out to the help desk, and we'll be happy to send additional posters to you to be able to place into your facilities. Family childcare learning homes will receive one of these posters also. It's going to be a slightly smaller one, but we hope that everybody will post them up and make them available, because this is going to be the quickest and easiest way to access the platform that's going to allow your staff to be able to complete their application. You can see on the bottom right hand corner, there's an area where you will be able to write in your licensing number. And again, this is going to be a crucial piece of information for your staff to have access to, because it's going to be one of the easiest and quickest ways for them to identify their payment month will be by using that licensing number, if you're a licensed facility, to be able to get access to the application portal. Not only are we going to have posters, so there is a little bit more that we can share with you, that you'll be able to share with your staff, is we are also having palm cards printed that, along with the poster, these will be delivered to your program prior to April. We hope to have these being shipped out around mid-March, towards the end of March. You should start receiving this information to be able to share with your staff and get those posters and palm cards out. Again, more can be requested. We are going to be sending one of the palm cards to each family childcare home, and then there will be several more that will be sent to the centres. And if you would like to have more, we can always send you more of those also. These palm cards we want to put in the hands of our teachers and our support staff, so that they, again, can have a really quick kind of how to, what do I need to have? Am I eligible? Can I answer these questions and see what I need to do in order to prepare to be able to go on and to be able to quickly complete the application to be able to get my payment processed out to me. A great idea we had is adding these palm cards to recruitment packages. If you hand recruitment packages to prospective employees, it's a great incentive tool to be able to let them know about the eligibility to these payments annually, and a great retention marketing tool as well. So have these on hand to be able to share with your staff. In terms of helping providers staff members be prepared for the application, there's a couple of things that you can do ahead of time. One of them here is to encourage all of the staff to be enrolled in Georgia PDS. And as you know, currently with your teaching staff and admin staff, you are already entering all of them into the PDS because of those points that are earned in their portfolio for Standard 1. But this might be a new, kind of a new area for you, some of your support staff to be into PDS, because that may not have been something that they have already done or have been used to. So this is a great time now, before we launch these payments in April, to make sure that not only your teaching staff are enrolled in PDS, but also all of your support staff are enrolled and can keep that updated. The other key piece of information that your staff are going to need to have is when they are in that payment application window for that month, they are going to need to upload to their last 2 pay stubs or paychecks. So those are some things that we kind of have to think about in order to, make sure that staff know how they can get access to those information. So some people have payment systems and processes where, they already are either handing them a pay stub, or they can go online and they can find their paycheck or pay stubs. But maybe some programs are not using this. So we do have to make sure that in order for auditing purposes and verification purposes of the payments, that those pay stubs or paychecks do have to be uploaded. For family childcare providers, obviously you're probably not writing a pay stub or a paycheck to yourself. We do look to, I believe it's Schedule C from when you do your taxes, that will be uploaded into the application, so that again our payment verifiers can verify that you have those 90 days and that you do have the hours. But with family childcare providers, we would assume that you're meeting the 30 hours per week fairly easily. So this is kind of all the marketing. This is like, get the word out, spread the word. This is a way that we can access how we get access to the money. So the key thing to look at when you see these palm cards and these posters is this little QR code here. This is going to be the easiest way to access the payment application platform, is simply by scanning that QR code that will take you directly to the brand new website that is live. It went live today. That is going to be where you will go to actually access these applications to be able to get these payments. So this is it's a beautiful website that has been created for us, that is going to also share all the information for both of our QR payments. As you may know, Bentley had mentioned at the beginning, not only do we have these bonuses for the workforce, but we also have these C2Q payments, the commitment to quality payments for our CAPS providers. And so this new website is how everybody can access both pieces of the new QR payment. So the red bubble there is if you're interested to learn more about the commitment to quality payments for the CAPS providers, you can click on that bubble. If what you're needing to go to is to find out more about the workforce bonuses, then that's the orange bubble that you'll click. And you can see there, we kind of highlighted the orange bubble. The good news about this website is, and you can see the address is there also. So there's a couple of ways you can get to the website. Obviously, you can just type in the address, which is decalqrpayments.com, or you can scan that QR code. When you scan the QR code, you won't go to the landing page here. This landing page is the home page for both payment types. But if you go into the QR code, you won't have to click on that orange bubble. The QR code will take you directly to the page for the website page for the actual workforce bonus payments, which is the next slide that we're going to see here. So this is where all of your workforce, your teachers, your support staff, when you're ready to look to find what is my application month, when am I going to be actually able to go in and apply for my funds? I don't know when my provider or the provider that I'm working for was initially rated. I don't know what that month is 10 years ago. You don't need to know any of that. This is the page you need to come to, because you will be able to search this page and find out exactly when is your program's assigned month. And it's super easy to do this. This this page has all the information that you need to be reminded on as to whether or not you're eligible. But the key functionality is what you see at the bottom of the screen here, which is the actual search tool, which will then take you and let you know whether or not you're in your month. Now, the website itself is live now. So if you do go to the website today, you will see many features of the website available. What you won't see yet is this search engine. This search engine is currently under construction. We have to load in all of the programs. We have to load in all of the programs assigned months. So that piece is under construction, but it will be available mid-March. So by mid-March, you will be able to go in and actually use the search. I'm going to kind of walk you through right now what that will look like, but just know that it won't be until mid-March until you will actually be able to go in and do that piece of the functionality. But basically what you'll do when you come back in mid-March, you're going to scan that QR code. It's going to bring you right to this page here. You're going to come down, enter either your program's name, the childcare facility that you work at, your program's licensing number. That's why we said it's really important to put that licensing number on the poster. That's probably the easiest and the quickest thing to type in, is just pop in that licensing number. But you can also search by the program's address. Whichever one you use, basically you're just going to then hit the search functionality on that button, and then it's going to pop up and let you know whether or not you are actually in the month or what your month will be. So for example, we can see on here, if you put in your program's name and it's not yet your program's month, then it will return a message that says that the window isn't open yet. But the good news about telling you that the window isn't open yet, it will also tell you when the window will open. So if you know that your window's not going to be until May, then you can go to your calendar, put it in your reminder to say, hey, 1st of May, I need to come back and I need to go ahead and then complete my application. So that's the good news. And I would strongly encourage everybody mid-March, jump on here, know ahead of time when is my month, so that you can be prepared and have everything you need to be ready for when it is your month. When it is your month, then we're going to kind of walk through now. You're ready, it's your month. You've kind of done the search, you're ready to log in, you're ready to apply and get that money. So basically what you will then do is you will hit that apply now button. And then that apply now button is actually going to take you to what will be the payment platform. That is the payment platform that will allow you to actually complete the application and will allow Care Solutions to begin that processing of that payment. So what we have on this next slide is a lot of words, but I wanted to just kind of walk you through what that's going to look like. So when you get to that point where it is your month, you're going to hit apply now. It's going to take you to a portal that will allow you to apply. And that portal is actually the Decal Scholars payment profile. So if you've ever received any payments from Decal previously, if you received power payments, if you are part of Decal Scholars, if you have received any funds through any one of a myriad of other programs here in Decal where you might have received payments or stipends, you would have created a Decal Scholars profile, and that is the payment portal for you to receive your payment through. So you'll be directed over to Decal Scholars. If you already have a profile, you'll be able to simply log in and complete the application. If you don't have a profile, then you'll be prompted to create your own profile. But let's go back to the first square here, because there's some things that you can do ahead of time. You can start doing these things now so that you'll be ready when it is your month, and that's the preparation box. So I'd already mentioned updating and having an accurate Georgia PDS profile. You need to make sure that that's updated. Need to make sure that you've identified the provider that you work for. As Bentley had mentioned, again, that there is only one payment, regardless of how many different providers you might work for or how many different providers you may have worked at during a year. You can only claim this payment for one provider one time a year. So it is really crucial that you update that PDS account, because when you're going to be submitting those paychecks into your application, part of the verification is making sure that your PDS account is matching with who you're getting your paychecks from and the amount of time that you've worked there and the hours that you work every week. So all of this has to be in sync. So it's crucial to keep it updated. You do have to have those last two paychecks or pay stubs that you will be uploading and submitting in the application. And then you also need to know some banking information. So if you choose to receive your payment through direct deposit, which I would encourage everybody, if you have a checking or savings account, to receive your funds that way. That's the quickest way that you can get your money. But if you do choose that, you will need to know your bank routing number and your account number, because you will need to provide that information so that the payment can be made. You can also choose to receive your payment through a check that will be mailed to you. So it is really your choice. But of course, if you have a check, it is probably going to take a little bit longer to land in your mailbox than if you do an ACH direct deposit. The other thing that you can be prepared with is having a signed and notified affidavit and a copy of your unexpired verifiable ID, which would be like your driving license, if you're a permanent resident, permanent residency card. Basically, anybody who is receiving funds from DECAL has to have a signed and notified affidavit of lawful presence to be working in the US. And so if you've received, again, if you're a US citizen and you had received power payments a couple of years ago, DECAL scholars, anything, if you're kind of already in the system, you will not have to do that. But for those of you that may never have received, this is going to be the first time that you're receiving funding from DECAL, or if you're not a US citizen, you will have to do this. The information is on the website. You'll be able to download that affidavit. You'll be able to take it, get it notarized ahead of time. So again, that you're prepared and that you're ready for when your window opens up, you can speed the process up to be able to get your funds. So preparation is going to be key, and these are the things that you'll need to do ahead of time to be ready to complete your application during that month. Once all of that information has been uploaded into your application, you can see here we kind of move to that verification phase. And so again, that verification is being done through the DECAL Scholars profile. There's a couple of pre-qualification questions, and those questions are really to just determine to make sure that you are eligible for the payment. And those are the questions around whether or not you have been employed at that program for 90 days, if you are full-time with the 30 hours or 15 hours, if you are in a standalone school-age program, and if you are actually working on site at that facility. So they're just the qualifying questions, which really is what makes you eligible. And if you answer yes to all of those questions, then you'll be able to move through and enter all of the additional information into your application. At that point, an email will be sent to the program, either the program director or owner. Basically, what happens is there will be an email that will be sent to whoever is monitoring the email box, which is what is the primary email that is in the Koala database. So licensing has a primary email for every program. That will be the email that will receive the verification notification. And that is basically just a verification so that the director can review the application, make sure that this individual does actually work at the program and is verified. Just a very 30-second check to be able to say, yes, this person works here. And then at that point, then the application is submitted to Care Solutions, who is going to be able to then verify and process the payments. And so that then moves us into the last box, which is the payment processing. Of course, somebody at Care Solutions will receive that application. They'll be verifying the information in PDS with the against your pay stubs. They'll be entering the payment information, either creating the check or making sure that ACH is occurring in a timely manner. So there is obviously some time there that it takes from the time you actually put your information in, how quickly your director hits that verification, which will then move that over to the Care Solutions queue to be able to process in a timely manner. You will receive email updates along the way, and then there's also the option to be able to opt in to text messaging, and so you can receive updates on the progress of your application as it's moving through the stages through text messaging if you do choose to go that route. Just before we get to the questions, I have just a couple of more things to share with you, kind of need to knows. Again, remember that the staff are only entitled to one payment per year, regardless of how many different programs you may work at. Can only apply under one program. And if you received payments under one program earlier in a year and then you do move to another program, that doesn't mean that you're going to be eligible now for another payment under that other program. One-time payment for one program. These bonuses are taxable only if you have received $600 total from Care Solutions in any one tax year. So if you are receiving this $500 award and you have not received any other payments from Care Solutions in a tax year, then a 1099 will not be issued and this money is not taxable. If, however, you have received other payments that have come through Care Solutions, maybe you've received decal incentives or scholarships, maybe you've received stipends for the Thrive Academy. If you have received more than $600, then Care Solutions will automatically be sending out those 1099s, and you would receive those usually sometime late January, early February of the tax year. The last thing to know about these bonuses is there is absolutely no requirement on how staff spend these bonuses. We are not going to ask you, to keep receipts or tell us what you're spending the money on. These do not have to be spent on your classroom. These are your money to spend on yourself in however you see fit. And it's just a token of appreciation for you to be able to use it in whatever way you would like to use that money. The last couple of slides here is really going back to that website. So I just wanted to let you know about some additional information you can find on the website that's going to be super helpful. Each one of those payment pages has an FAQ at the bottom of their page, and we call these the flip FAQs. There's usually going to be only about 6 of them, but as Care Solutions takes more and more questions from providers and from the workforce, they will populate the most asked questions here, and as you hover over them, they'll flip around and will give you the answer to that question. But then as we move into another tab on the actual website, we have an actual resources tab. And this is where you're going to be able to find just a wide range of different resources and materials and kind of to help you understand how these both of these payment types work. There's going to be how-to documents, which are really going to be kind of that step-by-step. How do I do the application? How do I complete it? There's pictures on there. There's examples on there. Great documents if you have any questions about actually navigating the systems. There are also the form fillables for W-9s for the C2Q providers. And then the form fillable, if you do need to fill out that lawful presence affidavit to get that notarized, you can download it. It's there now. If you know that applies to you, if you've never had a payment received before from decal, that's something right now you could download and go and get taken care of so that when it is your month, you'll have it ready and it can just be uploaded. We will have extensive FAQs for both payment programs. We already have the FAQs and the policies for the C2Q payments ready, and these are going to be published on the website today. And we are continuing to work on our FAQs and our policies for the workforce bonus, and they will be there by the time we get ready to go live with these in April. And then just as we have other additional resources and materials developed for these payments, everything will kind of belong on this page here that you will then get access to that. I think that's about all I have for the deep dive. So we'll just see if we can spend these next 15 minutes going over any questions that anybody has.
Sure. Thanks, Denise. And that, wow, that's a lot of information.
It's a lot of information.
I know you probably need a minute to catch
Yes.
to catch your breath. We're not having as many questions come through as the
Okay.
last time, but we are seeing some of the same themes.
Okay.
So, we had some questions about probationary and provisional programs, and they are not staff are not eligible for the workforce bonuses
No.
until they are rated.
Until they're rated. So that's the incentive for working hard through provisional and probationary statuses. And then as soon as you receive that 1, 2, or 3-star rating, then that will make your staff eligible. And again, that's going to be a new rating for you. So you will actually have that eligibility during that next month. And then in future years, you'll go back to your rating month for when that window will open up. Yes, but this is that's a bonus and a benefit of becoming a star rated program.
Right. And so some questions about the actual application process. So, a staff person, it's their payment month, it's their program's payment month.
Yes.
So they go in and they apply, they upload the necessary materials, then an email goes to their director.
Yes.
Their director confirms, and that's when the application is submitted.
Yes, Care Solutions will not actually see that application until the director or the owner, whoever is sitting with that mailbox, actually verifies to say, yes, that this person works for me and the information they have entered is accurate and correct.
Right. So it's really important that programs have the correct koala email address. Correct?
Yes,
Is that like a key part?
Absolutely. So, we've run into this with other payment programs that we've done, particularly when we had the restoration grants, is that sometimes, ownership changes, directors change, and sometimes that email is not updated in Koala. So the email ends up going with the person who left 3 months ago. Nobody's checking that email. So it really is crucial. If you have a change in leadership in your program, whoever is the individual that is checking that primary email from Koala, we need to make sure that somebody is manning that email box and is actually getting those emails and is paying attention, because it is crucial that all of this timing happens during that month window.
Right. And for most of a program staff, they will probably be eligible when their application month starts.
Yes.
But you may have some staff that hit the 90 days within that payment application month. So those staff should wait until they hit their 90 days before they apply, right?
Yeah. Wait until you've hit that 90-day mark, because that is going to be one of the verification points for Care Solutions, is to make sure that you have been employed at that program for at least 90 days.
Right. I see a few questions about the program, with eligibility months, and when programs are trying to figure out what their month is.
Yes.
So it's that initial rating month, and let's say a program's rating expired at some point in time, and now they've come back through. Would it be that very first?
No. So if there is a break in a rating, then it's going to be whatever is the newest rating month from after that break. So let's say maybe a provider rated for the first time all the way back in 2012, and that rating expired in 2015, and then they may have sat out from QR for several years and didn't come back until 2021. So that 2021 date is actually going to be considered their new initial rating, because they kind of had that long break in service there. If there was no break in service, that you just at the 3-year mark, you continually kept that rating active for that whole time, then we will go back to that very first rating to be able to get that distribution.
But in mid-March, we will have a search engine up, so programs do not need to try to compute this too much. I understand why you want to and figure that out, but they are developing the website. We want to give them the data the latest period possible, so we can get more programs in there. So, but I do understand people asking for that. Just to clarify, we have a question here about cooks and custodial workers and bus drivers. They are all eligible as long as they meet those requirements.
Yes, as long as they meet those 3 eligibility gates, which is the 90 days, the 30 or the 15 hours based on the program type, and then that they are working at the facility on site and they're not, in a corporate office somewhere.
And we weren't asked this in the first webinar, and I'm actually kind of surprised, but this is separate from decal incentives, which is another whole
Yes,
program.
that's another whole program. Decal incentives is tied to qualification attainment, and these are not tied to any type of qualification attainment. This is purely if you work in a qualifying program, which is again a 1, 2, or a 3-star rated program, and you meet the eligibility requirements of 90 days, 30 or 15 hours, and on site, then you're eligible.
Right. And related to that question, so what about office staff and directors and assistant directors? And I mean,
they are eligible.
Really your staff that are on site.
Yes, staff, if they're on site and they meet those 3 gates, then they are eligible for this payment. Yes.
And just to, I mean, to go back, and I should have gone back. I mean, so if you're a teacher and you're in the scholars program or incentives, you are still eligible for these payments.
Absolutely.
So yay.
And they are pre-K teachers. Yes. Anybody who is working in your building and meets those 3 eligibility requirements is going to be eligible for these payments.
And then the school age staff. So even though I know for a lot of our programs, the school age classrooms aren't necessarily part of the quality rating, but those staff are still eligible for the payments as long as they meet the requirements.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm not sure about, but do we have?
This may be a new one.
Well, I mean, I know that we have some, I guess, school age programs that are in public school systems. So we're asking about public school staff.
So this gets a little bit tricky. If you are if your work location is in, like, let's say you work in an elementary school and the program that you work for is a licensed childcare program that is housed in an elementary school, let's say it's a YMCA or Kids Coalition, that is considered a standalone school age program. You have a childcare licensing, you have a license from childcare services. You are eligible to be quality rated. We will come in and rate you. Your staff are eligible. So those particular programs are the licensed standalone school age programs that just happen to be housed in an elementary school facility are eligible, because again, the only criteria is a 1, 2, or a 3-star. So if you work at a program that's a 1, 2, or a 3-star, no matter where it's housed, you're eligible. There are staff and school systems where they have their own internal after-school program that is part of their licensed school system, their LLS, and those programs are not eligible to be quality rated, and so they would not be.
You have to be quality rated.
You have to be quality rated.
And I would just gander, I guess, that we have some directors here who are just wanting us to say that yes, directors are eligible for these payments.
Directors are eligible for these payments.
Directors keep popping up in the questions. Now we haven't figured out exactly how directors are going to verify themselves. So that is a piece we are working on with Care Solutions. But yes, directors, you are eligible.
As long as you are part of the staff, on staff, and you're not, directing remotely from a corporate office somewhere. You do have to be located at the facility.
And I know that this is in the slides and you said this, but I think this is really important. Your eligible staff need to have a Georgia PDS account to apply.
Absolutely.
So if your staff do not have one, now would be
the great time. Yes. So we do know that, this is something new for a lot of our support staff. Because typically support staff are not entered into PDS because they're not entered into the portfolio. They're not earning points towards standard 1. So this is going to be a little bit new for those support staff, to kind of help walk them through and guide them through that process of creating that PDS profile and being able to get into that so that they can be eligible for this payment.
And here's a question, and we may have to get with Care Solutions on this. So I'm asking this here because I know our friends at Care Solutions are listening. If your centers do not disperse check stubs and are paid over pay platforms such as Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, what forms of payment verifications are acceptable?
That's a great question. And we did have that question come up in the the first session that we did at 12:30, and that was definitely something that we and I'm sure Care Solutions has an answer for that. We just don't know what that is yet because they're not in the room with us. So we will definitely be including that question in our FAQs that we have to try and figure out what is the solution around those types of payments.
Sure, I know there are guidelines. I mean, I know my cat sitter has guidelines about paying with Venmo, so I know that there are certain things. So I think, Denise, I think we have answered all of our questions here. I think we are good to close off. And again, to everybody, we are really excited about these payments. And just remember, it is a new program. We are learning a lot as we go along, but we're very appreciative of all our workforce and just glad we're able to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, go check out the website. It's up, it's running, it's there. Just remember that the search engine feature of that is not going to be available until mid-March, but you can definitely take a look at all the rest of the information there. You can see as we post FAQs there and policies there. And download the verification of lawful presence if that's something you need to do ahead of time. So go take a look, and then mid-March be looking to see when the month is that you will be able to come back and apply for your payments. So we're really excited and happy to be getting money out to folks.
Yes. All right, everybody, have a great afternoon and weekend.
Yes. Bye-bye.